There's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we've got our grab bag of governance to start us off. And then we're going to talk about yesterday's Jagmeet. Maybe we could start off, we'll start off with Jagmeet Singh because, Jagmeet Singh and elections and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And then we'll get into the grab bag of governance. So, first, Alan Fryer says, it's incomprehensible that a country would learn that there may be foreign government collaborators walking in its halls of power and then take no discernible action. Ottawa's lack of urgency is in so serious a matter is corrosive to voters' trust in democracy. I would agree with that. So the Globe and Mail is targeting the fact that we've known now for more than a year, since March of 2023, I think it was, that Chinese traitors have been using Chinese resources to get into our government. And that government is trying to pass censorship laws. And, I guess the news media just plumb realized it now, and up till now had just forgotten, I suppose, which is very, very strange, but true. So now they're doing an opinion piece that calls them out. Ryan says 11 MPs who are accused of betraying their country, a prime minister who knows who they are, a public who doesn't. Release the names. Robert Fife is linking to the Globe and Mail article as well. He says, Mr. Trudeau, we're still waiting on the names of those who collude against us. So the Chinese traitors, who are they? Name them, right? And again, a lot of speculation about this goes right to the top, which is why they keep pretending that there's nothing to see here, no problems, nothing wrong whatsoever. Dan Albus, he's an MP. He's responding to Robert Fife's tweet and article as well. He says, and this is a quote from the article, we will say it for a third time in 4 months. The government should name names in Parliament. Let those facing allegations defend themselves there and elsewhere, and finally demonstrate the backbone to defend Canada. Yeah, we can't go into an election now, 2 weeks from now, 4 months from now, 5 months from now, March of next year, whenever we go into an election, we can't go into an election without knowing those names, period. I don't think that that's a reasonable ask of Canadians. And unfortunately, it seems like that's exactly what's going to be asked of Canadians. So very unfortunate. Here's True North, and Premier Francois Legault is calling on the Bloc Québécois to trigger an early election. And I thought it was interesting. Yesterday, I reported that all he wanted was the milk, the supply management, and he wanted a 10% increase for seniors. But this True North article is saying that he wants an increased control over immigration, which I showed you yesterday. Mark Miller said never going to happen. So this was absent from my report yesterday because he didn't say control over immigration. He only said in his little answer to the person that I was showing you, I want more supply management control, okay, like more guarantees for supply management and more money for seniors. That's it. He didn't say anything about control over immigration, but now that's appeared in the True North article. So I guess just to be aware, right? Sometimes I get things wrong. Sometimes I get things not complete, and I try and fix that when I do get things wrong. So there you go. That's an update on that story. Okay. So very interesting stuff going on with that. And will Quebec get it? It looks like it because Justin Trudeau wants to keep controlling Canada. And in order to do that, shucks darn, he has to reduce immigration in Quebec, according to what Yves Francois Blanchet wants. I mean, shucks darn, right? Says Trudeau. So Cat Canada is highlighting this. I think it's interesting. This is kind of in our election sphere. And she says Canadian socialist conservatives are bringing in American-style politics. Bad. Also, Canadian socialists, we love Kamala, right? So Canadians for Kamala include Rachel Notley, Kathleen Wynne, and Christy Clark. So, womp. And apparently, I guess, are they doing fundraising for her? Wednesday, October 2nd at 7 p.m. Who wants to hear a volunteer organizing project by SEIU? Oof, that's a union, right? So that's like CUPE. So they're putting together this thing. Maybe they are fundraising for Kamala. Here is Pascal Saint-Onge, and Rex was saying, sure, there's nostalgia for beachcombers. There's nostalgia for Hockey Night in Canada. There's nostalgia for when the CBC was relevant, but it hasn't been relevant in decades. And the gold-plated, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the gold-plated bonuses to Americans who live in America and run the CBC for some reason, nobody's having it anymore. And so the cuts that Poilievre is proposing are popular, okay? And the Conservatives are not shy about it, which is fine. That's good. At least they're taking positions on things. So that's better than, I mean, most of the last few years, right? But the Liberals and the NDP are trying to frame it as a net bad, right? Oh, they're going to cut everything and we're going to stand against the cuts, but they're going to be mean cutters and they're going to cut. And I want to see cuts because there's a lot of waste in this bureaucracy. And so Pascal Saint-Onge is saying, 100 years of CBC in Canada, and, here's all the great things about it. And I mean, I don't care enough to listen to 2 minutes of this woman's talking about how great the CBC used to be. Fundamentally, they have failed, and they're trying to make this argument that cuts are bad when people are hungry for the cuts. People are like, let's do those cuts. When can we get those cuts? Can we do them now? Can we do them preemptively? Let's cut it all. Sell the buildings, cut. And don't turn the buildings into government housing. Sell the buildings. Jeepers creepers. Alan is responding as well to Jagmeet Singh, and Mackenzie Gray says NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says he will not support the Conservative motion of non-confidence against the government. And so it's very interesting, the flip-flop, and he's been accused of being a stuntman and so on and so forth, because that's exactly what he did. He pulled a stunt in order to win an election in Winnipeg that he really shouldn't have won, considering the temperature of Canada and how much people like the current governing party. And Jagmeet Singh is a part of that, despite him saying, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. And the other part of that is like the fact that the NDP won and held, and the fact that the Bloc won when the Liberals lost, and the Liberals were down to 8%. But that's Quebec, so like fine. But also, it seems really strange for the electorate to punish the Liberals by voting for a party that's going to prop them up, right? Like, and everybody and their dog are positioning this as, I'm not propping up the Liberals. What we're actually doing is stopping the mean Conservatives. And that's a reimagining of what's happening. It's not accurate, and it's just to soften the blow. It's, if you imagine a dark room and a table in the corner of the room, and turn on, and it's very dark, pitch black, right? But turn on a light in the table. Okay, the room looks one way. Now pick up the light and put the light on the floor in the other corner of the room. It looks different. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to change your perspective on exactly the same thing. They're trying to say, no. It's not that we're supporting the Liberals, which is exactly what they're doing. It's that we're not supporting the Conservatives. And they're trying to reframe the same single light in the same room and have you see it in a different way. I'm happy with that as the start of the show, but hilariously, Jagmeet Singh is actually in the series of tabs that I moved out of the beginning of the show and is actually here. So that's pretty funny. Just before we get to Jagmeet Singh, the Bank of Canada has announced that it will be dropping its plan to create a Bank of Canada regulated digital currency after years of consideration. I don't have the link, but it's a True North September 20th piece. So check that out. This link actually just goes to this tweet, but it's Canada Proud. Canada Proud is usually, they're pretty good for putting out quote unquote like news that has a base, like a real base. So I'm fairly confident about this, but it's interesting and not what I expected on this weekend anyway. Here is Jagmeet Singh, and there's so much more to this Jagmeet Singh story than I had initially anticipated. And I'm glad that I showed you the Klingon battle cruiser when Riker took over and cast Jagmeet Singh as the Klingon and Riker as Polyev. I think it really worked because it was funny. And it was so much closer to reality than I knew. Like, I did not realize how bad it got. So apparently the Jagmeet Singh yelled so much that he went hoarse and had not had trouble speaking, but you could hear it later on in the exchanges in the House of Commons. And I thought, like, that's hilarious, right? How upset did he get? But the reason Fergus was saying, well, now you've put me in a bad position, like now things are really awkward, was because Jagmeet Singh was like actually threatening to, like, we should take this outside, bro. Honestly, like, he wasn't even kidding. And Polyev they were calling him on. They were like, okay, like, you want to come over and hit me? Please come over and hit me. Like, please do that. Like, if you want to hit me, come on then, Jagmeet Singh. Like, people were calling him on. It's funny. I'm going to show you the video in just a second, but The World Has Gone Mad says, I'm right here, bro. Singh comes at Polyev in the House of Commons. Singh left his seat and walked into the aisle shouting at Polyev. 2 altercations this week. This aggressive attitude of Jagmeet Singh is unacceptable. He's losing it and becoming unstable. Is this responsible for somebody who's carrying around a knife? Right? Like, whew, yowza. So here's the video, and I'm not going to play the audio. Just very quickly, Brittany says, she reads lips, she says, and this guy says, yeah, a-hole, come on down, right? So that's what this guy says. And Polyev says, do it. He's like, come on, do it. I dare you. And it's super it's super funny. And so when I showed you the video yesterday, I said it happened in a House of Commons anteroom, like one of the meeting rooms that are adjacent to the House of Commons. Like, let's have a quick breakout session in one of these rooms here. I was wrong. It almost happened right directly on the floor, right? Which is insane. Here is more video. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the full. Here we go.
Heated exchange between NDP leader Jagmeet Singh and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre sat back down after, saying what he just said.
So you can see Polyev here. Sorry, I don't care about what the CTV guy's saying. You can see Polyev in the bottom corner of the screen, right? Bottom right corner there. And it's over him now, but these guys are laughing. This guy's already said, come down. He says, go ahead. So it's pretty funny. Okay, I'll let the CTV guys talk again here.
Both sides of the aisle, you can see Conservatives there kind of looking down at Jagmeet Singh while he was standing up and saying things loudly. It was overheard that he said, I'm right here. It's not clear specifically what else was said, but you can see there Conservatives clearly saying things to him as well and playing into the heat of the moment there. So it's after that the Speaker of the House kind of stood up and tried to quiet everybody down, and heated exchange between
saying things loudly. I mean, holy smokeroonies, right? They almost came to fisticuffs on the House of Commons floor, and CTV's kind of saying, oh, well, I don't know whose fault it was, right? Jagmeet Singh 2 days in a row playing the strong man. Here's Desi Media, and he catches up with Jagmeet Singh to ask some questions about all of that. And it's interesting. A lot of people were making fun of Jagmeet Singh's bike. They want to normalize this. This is what you're supposed to be okay with riding around in Canada these days, because go grocery shopping on your bike like this. Yeah, right. But Jagmeet Singh's trying to normalize this. So you wouldn't go grocery shopping. You'd order your groceries in this post-apocalyptic hellscape. Here's this interaction, Desi Media and Jagmeet Singh.
Mr. Singh, first off, I'd like to just let you know that I'm not a bully. I'm not dangerous or violent or anything like that. I'm just a Canadian citizen practicing the right of journalism. I was wondering, though, if you'd care to comment on that incident on the Hill. If you'd care to comment on the incident on the Hill. The one where you were in a guy's face, calling, I believe you called him a bully.
Going to work, guys. Nothing else to say.
He can answer for himself.
Yeah, I've already put it out there.
Okay, well, the Canadians are very concerned, right? Like, I get foul language and accosting people definitely isn't okay. But Canadians are very concerned, right? There's a lot of people with a lot of grievances, and we have inaccessible politicians. Your government and you and your party in particular have been propping up the Liberals for a long time, right?
Going on the street there, folks.
You've been propping them up and holding Canadians hostage for a long time.
He didn't even look. When he walked out on the street there, he did not even look. He was just looking at the camera. Like, honestly.
And calling Canadians bullies, getting in their face, and dismissing the concerns of Canadians does not help. The rhetoric that you're putting out is contributing to the mayhem, and just bicycle away, I guess.
So Jagmeet Singh got on his bike and left. So super awesome representation in Parliament, right? A concerned citizen talks to the leader of the NDP, and the guy ignores him and bikes away. So read my statement online and bikes away. That's pretty wild stuff. Pretty crazy. Here's Justin Trudeau saying so the whole Jagmeet Singh thing, hilarious. And he seems less stable than he seemed a couple of days ago before he wanted to get into fights with random people and the leader of the opposition. It's weird. It's weird, right? And they'll say random people online are contributing to violence through their rhetoric of, we want accountability for the things the government did under the banner of the government during COVID. That's dangerous. But Jagmeet Singh, calling people right wing or whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that's just fine, right? Like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable stuff. Moving on, Justin Trudeau is using a Friday night news dump to celebrate Canadian military families. Justin Trudeau says behind every member of the Canadian Forces is a family that serves 2 in cross-country postings, new schools, and time spent apart from loved ones on deployment. So for Military Family Appreciation Day, I called one major family with a message. Thank you. John Fraser says, there are almost 7,000 military families who desperately need housing. A number of those families are homeless and living in tents and shelters. You've done sweet F all for Canada's military. You've appointed grossly incompetent ministers of defense and oversaw the most obscene procurement debacles Canada has ever witnessed. So people are upset. And somebody else says, it's 7:35 p.m. and you're tweeting this now. The day's almost over. You don't respect our military. Go away. So yeah, people aren't happy with Trudeau, right? It's not this has 495 retweets, 2,000 likes, and 723 comments. So not exactly ratioed, but I mean, it's not what you'd expect from a Trudeau tweet, although still way more likes than I would expect. Rod says, what is this bike thing that Jagmeet Singh is riding? That's what they want you to be okay with riding for yourself. Maybe a little electric bike assist. I watched a show called Peripheral. I think it's called Peripheral, and it's set in the future, and like it's even set in the future, 10 years in the future from now. And they have these electric bikes. I didn't see very many cars. They would do like travel on these little electric bike things that they'd assist. They'd pedal, and then the electric thing would help them drive or whatever. And so that was 10 years in the future. It was like set in 2034. And then in the show, they're supposed to go even farther into the future, and further into the future is even less populated with AI and like video clips of the population being projected as like a hologram onto like a cityscape. So if you're walking down a street, the houses would have people working outside, and you'd wave to them and they'd wave back type deal, but like they don't really exist. They're just holograms. And so just to make it look populated so it's not so empty and alone feeling, according to one of the characters. So just interesting kind of stuff. This is the direction they wanted to go, and the whole depopulation agendas within that as well. Also, one of the characters, and the show was half decent, but later on in the show, a trans character was introduced that was a man playing a woman's role. Not ironically, he was he was like supposed to be referred to as a female inspector, and like you see it right away. I was like, that's a man, that's a man, that's a man. I was like, we have to turn off the show. Damn it, we have to turn off the show. But it was like 2 episodes left. So, I mean, it was unfulfilling, and I'm not necessarily recommending you watch it, but it's one of those things where I was like, man, they just shoehorned it in at the end. I should have known. They had all sorts of signals that they were aligning with the climate apocalypse nonsense as well. Anyway, I digress. Pierre Polyev says, maybe I should start reviewing television shows. No, not really. Pierre Polyev says, in order to comply with Justin Trudeau's censorship laws, I'll just start reviewing television shows with meaningful coded words about politics as well. Okay, anyway, back to this. Pierre Polyev says, Trudeau says he's censoring the internet to stop conspiracy theories and disinformation. This week, Trudeau's MP Mark Garretson had to apologize for spreading a false and defamatory conspiracy theory about a Canadian woman. The best way for NDP Liberals to combat false conspiracy theories is to stop spreading them. And here's Michael Cooper absolutely torching Mark Garretson, and deservedly so. Like, he absolutely deserves everything he gets in this minute-long tirade. And yeah, here's Michael Cooper delivering it. Here we go.
Madam Speaker, the Liberal member for Kingston.
Oh, I've got to pause it. Sorry, it's too quiet. It's too quiet, and I don't want to miss anything. So here, we'll try that. Back it up, and we'll try again.
Madam Speaker, the Liberal member for Kingston of the Islands and pathetic Twitter troll has admitted guilt to spreading disinformation. This disinformation was part of a dirty and deliberate attempt to smear the reputation of a fellow Canadian, to change the channel on the absolute rot and corruption that defines 9 years of this Liberal government. Only when legal action was taken and the member was exposed for spreading this vile disinformation did he fall to his knees and apologize. Everyone knows that the apology is fake. The member's actions are part of a broader campaign of smears and deception by a rotten, corrupt government willing to do and say anything to cling to power. The people of Kingston deserve so much better than that member, and Canadians deserve so much better than 9 years of this corrupt Liberal government.
Sure, I don't disagree with any of that. Certainly, right? I think that's pretty spot on there, Michael Cooper. And 6 Buzz TV, going to a little bit of provincial politics. I like this. I don't like Doug Ford. I think that he's a liberal sellout, and I think that he's done a lot of things and I'll show you some more things that he's done, wasting tax dollars on anti-racism nonsense. I don't like Doug Ford. I think that he's done a poor job by any measure for a conservative premier. I digress. Like, we still have the carbon tax on heating. Why not? Pass a sovereign Ontario within a united Canada and remove the heating oil tax and tell Trudeau where to go, right? Tell him, until the Chinese traitors aren't exposed, I'm not going to send any tax to Ottawa, and then remit and then keep all taxes within Ontario, period. And just ignore the federal government. No? Till the Chinese traitors are exposed, I think you've got a leg to stand on for that one. Anyway, this I like, but it's a rare thing for me to like something Doug Ford does. He's not making cheesecake. He says, or 6Buzz TV says, the Ford government is considering restricting Ontario municipalities from installing new bike lanes that would require the removal of lanes of traffic. So you cannot you can't remove a lane of traffic to put a suicide lane and single lanes. I was trying to get across Guelph. I don't drive very much. I work from home, and I like my house. My house is my estate, right? As I was saying. And so I don't leave very often, but when I do leave, it's usually on off times. Like, I'm not commuting very much. And so sometimes commuting, when you're driving across the city during commuting times, it seems like the lights are calibrated correctly. And like, if you hit one green, you kind of hit 3 or 4 greens, or if you hit one red, a lot of the time you're hitting green. But now, how it seems, that's how it used to be when I was driving anyway. So maybe there's something different about commuting times and when I'm driving, but I'm not sure. So when I drive around Guelph now, the traffic is horrendous. And a lot of the lanes have been reduced, even on major streets, from 4 lanes, so 2 lanes going east, 2 lanes going west, to 1 lane going east, 1 lane going west, bike lanes going east-west, and a suicide lane in the middle for passing or turning. But the passing is kind of verboten. If you want to pass somebody, people get upset about that. Trust me. And so it's very, very interesting because municipalities love bike lanes, and I think they're doing it to make driving as much of a pain in the ass as possible. And as I said before, when I was commuting, and I would hit 1 green light and 6 or 7 green lights in a row, and it would kind of keep the traffic moving. You'd hit 1 red light, but it'd be a long stretch of green lights, right? Instead, now I hit every red light all the time. And it seems like if you hit a red light, you're going to hit all of the red lights. And even if you hit a green light, you're going to mostly hit red lights anyway. And I think that this is done purposely. It's like calibrated, because they can calibrate the timing, right? I think they calibrate it purposely to make driving as maddening as possible. This is a change in the last couple of years. I could be wrong, but it feels very different than it used to feel. It used to feel like they were going for efficiency, like get the traffic moved as efficiently as possible. And now it's like, make them sit in their cars and hate every minute of it. And they're doing it everywhere. It's incredible. And there's no way around it. Like, they're weaponizing it as well as a one further step. People in Brampton talk about this. People in Springfield, Ohio have had their insurance rates increased because migrants keep crashing cars right in the area. And so Kitchener as well has complained about an increase in bad drivers and traffic accidents. All of this is done to get people out of their cars, right? And into those terrible bikes that Jagmeet Singh was modeling, because I think that's what he's doing. Anyway, from now on, the Ford government will restrict bike lanes, or they're considering restricting bike lanes. But considering what the plans are, maybe they're just going to turn roadways into bike lanes completely, right? Jeepers creepers. Rex Glacier is responding to City News. City News says Toronto District School Board is reviewing field trip policy after students were brought to a protest. And Rex Glacier says, how about you fire everyone involved? And asking the insane activists who organized this to investigate themselves is a waste of time. Right, but he's missing the point. The whole point is to not give any consequences to the insane activists who organized this, right? Like, that's the whole point. It's to run cover for these crazy people. That's what they want to do. So here is an interesting thing. Melissa is asking, is this true? The Trudeau's school food program will only contain halal food. And she tags pleb. But I think this is the Wellington Catholic District School Board, and it's St. James Catholic School, and it says, note, all food will be halal and student allergies will be taken into account. And somebody's asking, is the Ontario program all halal, or is this just the school board? And I know that school board pretty well, and they were doing halal food for students years before it was in vogue. Like 2014, 15, they were already on board with this kind of stuff. Even staff events, et cetera, often would have halal options, if not be 100% halal anyway. So like that kind of stuff this is not new, but I don't know that it's school. I don't know that it's Board of Education wide. I don't know that this is the program as per Doug Ford's government, or if this is just the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. So take that with a grain of salt, obviously, as you should. It's the internet, right? Everything, take it with a grain of salt. But it's something they've been doing for a long time. And I bet if you look into it, your school board's doing it too, right? Cafeterias, all that kind of stuff. They have rules around that kind of stuff, and they were rewritten in like 2008, 2009. Even before that, 2006, 7, 8, 9, they rewrote a whole bunch of stuff for inclusivity and the Ministry of Education. So I worked in children's mental health, and we went through ministry licensing. So the ministry would come in and license us, but we were also attached to a school board. So they do lots of inspections connected to the school board as well. Like the ministry would not do the inspections of the school board, but the Ministry of Education would have like kind of collaborative checks and things like that. And so what would happen is all the policies of the school, all the policies of the place that I worked would be like kind of looked at and compared. And like if there was a more woke policy in like where I worked, the school normalized with us. And if there was a more woke policy where the school was involved and we hadn't achieved that woke policy, we normalized to the wokeness of the whole thing. Social justice was spoken openly about. That was the way you solved problems. Social justice was like primary way you wanted to achieve problem solving. If you could avoid, real justice, go for the social justice. Anyway, all sorts of crazy policies got passed and rewritten, and things people didn't understand the impact of. Right? Didn't understand even. I don't think in 2006, if you asked your everyday, regular, normal Canadian, what does halal food mean, I would say 2 out of 10 would be able to give you a comprehensive answer, right? That actually understood the implications of the whole thing. So 2002, 2005, 2006, even up to 2010, I don't think people were understanding what was going on. Like consider the Twin Towers and 9/11 happened in September 2001, right? Like, so, right? What's halal food, right? Understand the context a little bit. And so it's weird how after that, the West has been invaded by Islam. Hey, isn't that weird? Isn't that a strange thing? So weird. Anyway. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful